In this video, we will be replacing the tabletop on the RK-55. For filming purposes, I will be working on the wheel standing on its legs or propped up on blocks on its back. You may find it easier to do much of this work with the wheel sitting on its back two legs instead. The tools you will need are a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, an 8mm T-wrench that's included with the wheel, a 5mm T-wrench, and a 10mm 13mm combination wrench also included with the wheel. First, remove the wheel head by using the 8mm T-wrench that came with your wheel to loosen the set screw on the shaft of the wheel head. Next, remove the dust cover that is located between the wheel head and the bearing holder. Next, locate all 8 motor cover screws. Remove them using a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. Once that is done, lift away the motor cover to expose the inside of the wheel. Now go back to the top side of the wheel. Here we're going to remove all 4 mounting bolts from the bearing holder using the 13mm combination wrench that came with the wheel. When getting to the 4th bolt, I put my other hand on the inside of the wheel to hold down the nut plate, which is located just behind the large pulley. As I unscrew the last bolt, I want to catch the plate from potentially falling. Now you can see the bearing holder is no longer mounted to the table. Next, remove the pulley belt. Since the bearing holder has been separated, there is no longer any tension on the belt, so it can just be pulled away. Using the same 13mm wrench, unscrew the pulley wheel mounting bolt and washer. Pulling straight out, remove the pulley wheel from the bearing holder shaft, and from the top side, remove the bearing holder from the wheel. Next, unhook the nut plate and set it aside. There are a total of 14 mounting screws. Remove them using a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. Once 13 screws are removed, you will need to remove 3 of the 4 mounting screws and loosen the 4th. Pivot the motor to expose the 14th motor mount screw and remove it using a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. Then pivot the motor in the opposite direction to gain access to the socket head cap screw and remove it. From here, the table is completely released from the frame and the two can be separated. To install the tabletop, you will largely work in reverse. Start by placing the frame back onto the table. Then reinsert the socket head cap screw and the 14 table mount screw that are on the inside of the motor mount. Reinsert the 3 motor mount bolts, justifying the motor away from the large pulley and tightening them down. Replace the remaining 13 table mount screws. Rehook the nut plate on the self-tensioning spring, then replace the bearing holder. Reposition the nut plate back in place to accept the bolts. Now replace the large pulley, making sure the flat of the pulley faces out. Replace the washer and bolt and tighten the pulley down. Replace the pulley belt by matching the grooves of the pulley belt to the grooves on the small pulley on the motor. Then feed the belt around the large pulley. Shimmy the bearing holder a little to align the holes of the nut plate with the holes of the bearing holder. Insert the first bearing mounting bolt, but do not tighten it all the way down just yet. Insert the 3 other bolts, and when aligned, tighten them all down. Lastly, replace the motor cover and all 8 motor cover screws.